Imagine this. You're deep in the woods. You need to hunt, defend, survive. But you have no modern tools, no carbon fiber arrows, no fiberglass bows, no screws, no glue guns, no plastics. Just wood, horn, sinew, and instinct. What do? Well, if you were an Ottoman archer, you'd already be ahead of the game. You see, the Ottomans were masters of crafting powerful, accurate, and durable bows and arrows, without a single drop of synthetic material. And they didn't just make them functional, they made them elegant, beautiful, and battle-ready. Without electricity, without machines, and without shortcuts. Today, we're going to dive into the forgotten world of Ottoman archery. How they built weapons that could rival anything modern, with nothing but natural materials, skill, and time. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how they made their bows and arrows, what made them special, and even how you might recreate some of these techniques today. No plastic required. If you're into self-sufficiency, survival skills, or just amazed at how people used to solve problems without modern tools, hit that like button and subscribe. This is where old world wisdom becomes your modern day advantage. Let's start with the bow. The Ottoman composite bow, to be specific. This wasn't a simple curved stick. It was a layered weapon, a work of engineering, made from multiple materials that each played a crucial role. The core of the bow was typically made from wood, often maple, mulberry, or juniper, chosen for its strength and flexibility. This core provided the frame, the backbone of the bow. Next came horn, usually water buffalo horn, carefully flattened and shaped, then glued to the belly side of the bow, the part that faces the archer. Horn added compression strength, helping the bow bend and snap back quickly. Then, on the outer backside, layers of animal sinew, long fibers from deer or ox tendons, were soaked in natural glue and laid down like organic springs. The sinew added tension strength, meaning it helped the bow store and release powerful energy without breaking. These three materials, wood, horn, and sinew, had to be joined together using fish glue or hide glue. No plastic, no epoxy, just natural adhesives, made from boiled skins and bones. And that's where the real skill came in. Because each material expanded and contracted differently with heat and humidity. The bow had to be shaped, dried, and cured slowly, sometimes over the course of an entire year. Let that sink in. One bow, 12 months. That's not mass production, that's mastery. And it gets better. Once shaped and cured, the bow was wrapped in bark or thin birch skin for protection, then painted with lacquers made from tree resin, oils, and sometimes egg yolk for shine. Designs weren't just decorative, they also helped seal and preserve the weapon. So how powerful were these bows? Historical tests and surviving examples show that Ottoman composite bows could shoot arrows over 300 meters, more than 3 football fields, and some reports say elite archers reached 500 meters with the right wind. That's insane even by modern standards. But of course, a bow is only as good as its arrows. And the Ottomans knew that too. Ottoman arrows weren't just sharp sticks. They were customized tools, carefully balanced and designed for different uses, piercing armor, long-range flight, close combat, and even signaling. The shafts were made from lightweight straight woods like pine or reed. But getting a perfectly straight arrow took time. Arrow shafts were steamed, sanded, and sometimes bound in sinew for reinforcement. The arrowhead? Forged from iron or steel, often with different shapes for different jobs. Broadheads for cutting, bodkin points for penetrating mail armor, barbed tips for hunting. And then came the fletching, feathers, usually from eagle, vulture, or goose, aligned to stabilize flight. They were glued on with hide glue and wrapped with fine thread or sinew, not just slapped on, perfectly angled for spin and balance. Even the nocks, the grooves at the back that hold the bowstring, were carefully carved or reinforced with bone or horn to prevent splitting. Every part of the arrow was considered, adjusted, and tested. No machines, no automation, just hands, eyes, and experience. Now, let's zoom out for a second. Why does this matter today? Well, for one, the techniques used by Ottoman archers are still valid in a survival situation. If you ever had to craft a weapon or tool without modern resources, understanding how to layer materials, balance tension and compression, and use natural adhesives could literally save your life. More than that, It teaches patience, discipline, and the power of doing things the right way, not the fast way. Also consider the materials. Everything was biodegradable. If a bow broke, you could compost it. Arrows lost in battle became part of the earth. There was no plastic pollution, no waste. The tools of war were also in harmony with nature. And then there's the physical skill. Ottoman archers were trained from childhood. They practiced in special ranges called okmeydan, where distances were marked with stone tablets. Archery wasn't just a sport or a battle technique, it was spiritual. Archers recited prayers before releasing an arrow. They believed in the moral discipline of marksmanship. It wasn't about killing. It was about focus, control, and precision. Some archers could draw bows with over 100 pounds of pull weight. That's serious strength. And yet, the bows were small and light. That's the beauty of the composite design, compact but powerful. Today, when we think of archery, we often think of plastic risers, fiberglass limbs, and factory-made arrows. But the Ottomans remind us that high performance doesn't require high technology. It requires knowledge and commitment. Let me share a little-known technique, heat reflexing. After the bow was assembled, Ottoman bowyers would gently heat the limbs and bend them backwards to create the classic recurve shape. This wasn't done with machines, it was done over coals, using the hand to feel the temperature and the eye to judge the curve. Too much heat and the glue would melt. Too little and the shape wouldn't hold. It was pure instinct, refined over generations. And maintenance? These bows required care. You didn't just toss them in a corner. You stored them in a case, kept them away from moisture, oiled them with almond oil, and rewrapped them if the lacquer cracked. It was like caring for a living thing. And in return, the bow served you for years. Now here's something wild. Ottoman archers also practiced something called flight shooting, where the goal was not hitting a target, but shooting the arrow as far as possible. Special, lightweight arrows, polished bows, and carefully angled shots. It was both science and sport. And guess what? The world record in traditional archery for distance, still held by an Ottoman archer from the 1700s. Over 800 yards, no fiberglass, no compound bows, just centuries of wisdom in one pull of the string. Let's pause. If you're enjoying this dive into ancient survival engineering, please like this video and consider subscribing. It helps keep these lost skills alive and encourages us to keep sharing what history still has to teach. Back to practical application. Can you make an Ottoman-style bow today? Actually, yes. There are modern bowyers around the world reviving these methods. You can start with a wooden self-bow if you don't have horn or sinew. You can make hide glue at home with scraps from a butcher. You can use hand tools instead of power sanders. It's not easy, but it's doable and deeply satisfying. Even if you never make a bow, just understanding how these tools were built gives you a survival mindset. Use what you have, respect the material, and build with the long term in mind. The bow wasn't just a weapon, it was a teacher. Of patience, of physics, of humility. Every part told a story and carried the legacy of a civilization that valued precision over power, elegance over brute force. So next time you're out hiking, camping, or just sitting in your home with the lights on, imagine building something with no plastic, no plugs, and no modern crutches. Could you do it? That's your challenge for today. Let me know in the comments. What would you try to make if you had no modern materials? A bow, a fishing tool, a clay pot oven? And if this story inspired you, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more ancient wisdom that still works. We don't just study history, we learn how to live through it. Until next time, stay sharp, stay grounded, and maybe keep a string and a stick close. You never know when you might need to become an archer.